Hello and welcome. In today's video, we are tackling another critical triad in medicine, Cushing's triad. It's crucial not to confuse this with Cushing's disease. Cushing's triad is a set of 3 signs that signal a neurological emergency, specifically a dangerous increase in the pressure inside the skull. Recognizing this is vital, so let's get right into it. So, what exactly is Cushing's triad? It's a physiological response to a brain in crisis. Our skull is essentially a rigid, fixed box. There's no extra room inside. When the brain swells or there's bleeding, the pressure inside this box, known as intracranial pressure or ICP, starts to rise. As this pressure gets critically high, it begins to compress the most vital part of the brainstem. Cushing's triad is the body's last-ditch effort to save the brain. And it's a very late and ominous sign that brain herniation, where the brain is literally pushed out of the skull, could happen at any moment. The triad consists of 3 specific signs for you to memorize. They are, first, hypertension, but more specifically, a widening pulse pressure. Second, bradycardia, which is a slow heart rate. And third, irregular respirations. Now let's explore why each of these happens. First up is hypertension. Why does this happen? As the pressure inside the skull rises, it starts to crush the blood vessels, preventing blood from getting to the brain tissue. The brain senses this lack of oxygen and triggers a powerful sympathetic response to save itself. It tells the heart to pump with incredible force to raise the systolic blood pressure high enough to overcome the pressure in the skull and perfuse the brain. This leads to a widening pulse pressure, where the systolic pressure goes way up, while the diastolic pressure stays the same or decreases. For example, a blood pressure might go from 120/80 to 190/80. Now, you might think that with such high blood pressure, the heart rate would be fast, but in Cushing's triad, it's the opposite. The second sign is bradycardia, or a slow heart rate. This is a reflex response. Pressure sensors in the body, called baroreceptors, detect the extreme hypertension we just talked about. In an attempt to protect the body from this dangerously high pressure, they send a signal to the brainstem to slow the heart down. So, you get this strange combination of a sky-high blood pressure and a slow, often bounding pulse. The third and final sign is irregular respirations. This is perhaps the most serious sign. The part of the brain that controls our breathing is located in the brainstem. As the brainstem gets compressed by the increasing intracranial pressure, this respiratory center begins to fail. This causes breathing to become erratic and disorganized. You might see patterns like Cheyne-Stokes respirations, where the patient has periods of fast, deep breathing followed by periods of no breathing at all, or apnea. This is a sign that the brainstem is losing its ability to function. What kind of conditions lead to this dangerous pressure? The most common causes are a traumatic brain injury, or TBI, that causes swelling or bleeding, a hemorrhagic stroke, a brain tumor that's taking up space, or infections like meningitis or encephalitis that cause severe inflammation of the brain tissue. If you recognize Cushing's triad, you are witnessing a neurological catastrophe in progress. There is absolutely no time to waste. Notify the doctor or neurosurgeon immediately. A managed airway is essential. Oftentimes, this leads to intubation to control breathing and carbon dioxide levels. You'll also want to raise the head of the bed to 30 degrees to help fluid drain from the brain. Finally, prepare to administer hyperosmotic medications like mannitol, which work to pull fluid out of the brain tissue and reduce the pressure. Let's quickly summarize the key takeaways. Cushing's triad is a late sign of critically high intracranial pressure. The 3 signs are hypertension with a widening pulse pressure, bradycardia, and irregular respirations. It's helpful to remember that this triad is essentially the opposite of what you see in shock, where you typically have low blood pressure and a fast heart rate. Recognizing these 3 signs together means you need to get help immediately, as it signals impending brain herniation. And that covers the essentials of Cushing's triad. Thank you for joining me for this important lesson. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more medical education content. And as always, let me know what topics you want to see covered in future videos. Stay safe and see you next time.